you know, there are a lot of companies offering Indiana Jones whips. And all those folks, they advertise it as, we make the most authentic Indiana Jones whip. Well, I ask one thing, authentic to what? I mean, the shooting of Raiders of the Lost Ark in the 80s, yet alone David Morgan delivered 15 whips. 15. And there was no one who said, okay, we have to make them exactly one like the other. They were just made. And the stuntmen, most of the stuntmen had their own whips then. So, again, authentic to what, please? The thing is now that all those Indiana Jones whips, more or less, look the same. There is one famous, well, let's call it painting, a drawing of a whip that was used in the movie. And so everyone says, well, we make the most authentic whip. Again, authentic to what? And all those whips look more or less the same, like I said. Sorry for repeating that, but that's important for what I'm saying now. The real difference in all those whips is and can be only found at the inside of the whip. It's about the craftsmanship. And there, boy, there are differences, big differences. I've seen Indiana Jones whips advertised as first grade Rue, wonderful, and in the end it was drum stuffed Rue second grade that looked like it was painted or something. Terrible stuff. And there are honest craftsmen who say we use first grade Rue, and then they really use first grade Rue. Or for example, the inside. I said this often enough too. You know, especially with these Indiana Jones whips. Made from finest Rue, and the inside is cowhide for the bolsters. Again, there is nothing wrong with cowhide bolsters, but there's a lot wrong about not telling that to the customer. Yet again, since I started that little private war on that, a lot of whip makers changed the descriptions on the homepages. Now there is written made from first grade Rue, and then, oh well, we use finest cowhide bolsters. At least a little success. And now we come to the point. Giovanni Celeste. Giovanni Celeste is a real artist. You know, yeah, I know. Italy is known for two things. For pasta, landscape, and, three things. Landscape, pasta, and art. And Giovanni Celeste is one of those classic Italian artists. So he really uses the best material. He is in with a lot of passion. Perhaps it's this Italian passion for art, for life. I don't know. Well, you know, Giovanni is a loving husband and a loving father, and he's a real gentleman. He's a very nice person. And his whips, what he's making, he has a strong sense for tradition. And this sense for tradition is also found in his whips, in his work. Real first grade Rue, kip bolsters, and a braiding that is simply amazing. A fantastic piece of art. But, look for yourself, right there. Like I said before, Giovanni Celeste is a real craftsman. And he has a sense for traditions. And, let me assure you, to crack his work, to crack his whips, is a sheer joy, really.
These things make me who I am. Maybe all of these things make me who
I read a very interesting comment, a text that said, some whip makers are famous because they have whips in a movie, and other whip makers are famous because they make great whips. Don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about David Morgan. David Morgan made wonderful whips, great stuff. You know, what actually today is sold under the name David Morgan, you know, that's another story. But the interesting thing, Giovanni Celeste, he also makes whips for movies. But other than other companies who have a movie, my God, okay. You know, that's the interesting thing. Giovanni Celeste, he also has whips in movies. For example, it's a remake of Ben-Hur with the old big movie with Charlton Heston, and he made the whips for that movie. But other than other whip makers who have little appearances of their whips, and they also, we made the whips for the movie, ba ba ba, and we made the movie for the whip for the movie, ba 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 ba. Really, it's fantastic. And sometimes they are so ashamed that they made a movie for a whip that they removed that from the homepage. Silent. But, you know, no, serious. Giovanni Celeste makes movies. My God, yeah, I know. Thank you, editor. Giovanni Celeste makes whips for movies, but he does not. He doesn't make a big story out of that, you know. He just makes them, and that's a very good thing, in my opinion. Some people will ask now, why the music and why that old wall clock and not because I can't stand it anymore. I can't hear Raiders March together with any whips, and the same is for the hats, for the leather jacket and the grail and the piece of, you know, and no. You know, this review is about the whip, the work of a great whip maker, and not about decorations and other things. So, yeah, like I said, other whip makers, they advertise their stuff very well. We are doing great and we're doing wonderful, we're doing fantastic. And in fact, Giovanni Celeste delivers first-class quality. I was really excited because Mario, the photographer, he called me because he had the whip in his hands before I had it. And he called me and he said, Robbie, it's amazing how accurate that whip is. And I said, okay, really? Is it? Really? A 10-footer? And he said, yeah. And yeah, he was right. I checked that whip. The moment I've got it, I opened the box and out into the garden. And that's interesting too, because with this whip, I ran all the tests I described in the Whip Basics shorts, short number 1, 2, 3, and 7. I checked every single part, every single point, every advice I gave you in the Whip Basics shorts, and this whip passed them all. It was really cool. And the good thing is, and that's the reason why it is so incredibly straight and balanced. You know, sometimes when you're braiding, one hand is a little bit stronger than the other, and if you are not really careful, you will have more pull here than you have here, and that means over the length of the whip there will be a little unbalance. You know what I mean? You know, you can see that with the seams. The seams are not really exactly down there. But if they are, like it's on that one here, it's completely balanced inside. And that gives you a very nice rollout, a very nice and straight line. And so, yes, sir, you can use this 10-foot whip for target work too. Well, you see a few samples in the video. Oh, Fizi-Bär, was machst du da? Fizi-Bär, ja komm mal her. Fizi. Okay, it's not made as a target whip, of course not. These 10-footers are designed and made as single crack whips. Well, that was at least what David Morgan told me end of the 90s. He said, well, the original Indiana Jones whip was constructed, or that type of bullwhip was made, or the purpose was as a single crack working whip. Bam, that's it. And you know, it's interesting. I'm watching the market very close, not because I'm a big Indiana Jones fan, just I'm interested in whips in general. And sometimes I really wonder what prices whip makers call. I say, you know, you know, it takes always two. One who calls this price and another one who pays it. And I'm really surprised how much people pay incredibly much money. You know, a Indiana Jones whip I found on home pages from American whip makers for about $700. Now this is a lot of money. $700. Of course, it's always the same story. Yeah, rawhide became so expensive. Funny enough, 1.5 or 2 years ago, those whips were about $580 to $620, and now they are over $700. It's interesting. But interesting, funny enough, you know, all the whip makers, you know, one starts and the others go up to. Okay, yeah, well, but to be honest, if you pay more than $700 for a 12-plat whip, there are two reasons. You are incredibly rich, or you are incredibly naive or stupid. I really hope that you are rich. But, you know, and the interesting thing is, I don't know how all that works, but Giovanni Celeste's 10-foot Indiana Jones whip, 12-plat, made from first-grade rue, great craftsmanship, kip bolsters, is selling for around $550. It's interesting. You know what I mean? Of course, you know, so others would now say, well, the shipping costs from Europe to the States. What? Okay, so what? Who cares? So fucking what? When I see prices from American whip makers or other countries, and then I read shipping to Europe, $70. Okay. Shipping from Europe to the States is not that expensive. Okay. So this is no argument at all. The interesting thing is that sometimes whip makers really even try to make money on the shipping costs. Okay. I don't know what to say on that, but you know it now, and it's on you what you do. Like I said, I hope you are rich and not stupid. 700. Yeah. Maximum 700, maximum, but not 1 cent more. Okay, but back to the whip. There is a funny, no, not funny, a beautiful detail. You've seen it on the stills of this whip in the right at the intro. It is about the heel. There is a plate, a brass plate in the heel. It says WB for Whip Basics, and there is no reason that this couldn't be your initials, okay? And the next thing is, this is not a thin plate and a little engraving. That goes really deep into the metal, deep into the brass. It's really, you can hear it. If you go here over that engraving, that's really deep. That's a massive piece of metal down there. So yeah, this is just a side, you know. If you like to personalize your whip, you can do it very good with this plate here. At least an advice. And of course, it goes into the direction of Giovanni Celeste too. When you have a whip maker who has only and only Indiana Jones whips on his website, I wouldn't buy there. Pretty simple for that reason. He has no experience with other whips. Of course, this whip maker would say now, well, I'm specialized in Indiana Jones whip. Yeah, very good. But I think a real artist is one who is not only able, for example, to paint landscapes. A good artist is able to paint landscapes and portraits and buildings and sunsets and whatever, you know. I think the great artists in history, there was no one who said only, I can only paint landscapes. No. Huh? And that's the same for whips. The more experience a whip maker has, the better his work is. And yeah, again, Giovanni Celeste makes a whole lot of different whips. Nylon whips, leather whips, stock whips, bull whips, snake whips. Very special ones, like that, the Tamer whip. I did a review on that. Just look for this whip basics, Giovanni Celeste, the Tamer. Pretty interesting thing. So, okay, thanks for watching. And right now you will see a few more impressions, a few more pictures. I hope you enjoy them. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day, and we will meet the next Whip Basics review, and I think this will be number 34, if I'm not totally wrong. Okay, thanks again. Have a nice day, and bye.